not being prevented from taking his oath in the first place. The First Amendment's on our side.
So just to FYI,
he tried to overturn the will of the people, the voice of the people. He lost that election by more than 7 million votes. Some people don't want to admit it. Counsel for the president could not bring themselves to admit that the election's over. In answer to the question from the distinguished gentleman from Vermont, he refused to answer that. He said it was irrelevant, despite all of the evidence you've heard about the big lie and how that set the stage for his incitement of the insurrectionary violence against us. First Amendment is on our side. We are defending the Bill of Rights. We are defending the constitutional structure. We are defending the separation of powers. We're defending the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House against a president who acted no better than a marauder and a member of that mob by inciting those people to come here. And in many ways, he was worse.
Really? Does he say what to do? Did he tell them to attack the building? Did he say to break in and start killing people? Did he say start busting out of down doors?
Thank you, Mr. Raskin.
Mr. President.
The majority leader is recognized.
Mr. President, the Senate is now ready to vote on the article of impeachment. And after that is done, we will adjourn the court of impeachment.
The clerk will read the article of impeachment.
Hi, guys. Watching the vote here. Didn't have the volume up earlier on, but now you can hear it all. And we'll get to watch them in real time vote on the article of impeachment. One of the things that I think the House managers failed to do is to explain why this case would be different than Brandenburg. They never addressed that at all, and that is the key. The definition of incitement, and is particularly in law, would have required Donald Trump to be a little more specific, FYI. But there you go. We got to watch the vote now.
Article 1, incitement of an insurrection.
First of all, there would have to be insurrection.
Senate will be in order.
The Constitution provides that the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the President shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Further, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits any person who has engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States from holding any office under the United States.
That's quite dubious.
In his conduct
also,
while President of the United States and in violation of his constitutional oath, faithfully to execute the office of the President of the United States and, to the best of his ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. That's right. And in violation of his constitutional duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Yeah, boy. Donald John Trump engaged in high crimes and misdemeanors by inciting violence against the government of the United States in that, on January 6, 2021, pursuant to the 12th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the Senate met at the United States Capitol for a joint session of Congress to count the votes of the Electoral College. In the months preceding the joint session, President Trump repeatedly issued false statements asserting that the presidential election results were the product of widespread fraud and should not be accepted by the American people or certified by state or federal officials. Shortly before the joint session commenced, President Trump addressed a crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. There he reiterated false claims that we won this election and we won it by a landslide. He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel,
Interesting.
menaced
They
members
use
of
that
Congress, the
line,
Vice
fight like
President,
hell,
and congressional
but
personnel, and
Trump
engaged in
did
other
not
violent, deadly, destructive, and
ask anyone
seditious
to go over
acts.
there and
President Trump's conduct on
stop
January
people.
6, 2021, followed his
Oh.
prior efforts to subvert and
I'd heard
obstruct the
some of these
certification of the
arguments, but holy
results
shit, I
of the
never actually read
2020
the actual
presidential
article of
election.
impeachment.
Those prior efforts included a phone call on January 2, 2021, during which President Trump urged the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, to find enough votes to
Not
overturn the
related to
Georgia presidential
incitement. That's
election
not
results, and
incitement.
threatened
Irrelevant.
security Raffensperger if he failed to do so. In all this, President Trump gravely endangered the security of the United States and its institutions of government. He threatened the integrity of the democratic system, interfered with the peaceful transition of power, and imperiled a co-equal branch of government. He therefore betrayed his trust as president to the manifest injury of the people of the United States. Wherefore, Donald John Trump, by such conduct, has demonstrated that he will remain a threat to national security, democracy, and the Constitution if allowed to remain in office, and has acted in a manner grossly
Notice the
incompatible with
article of impeachment,
self-government
if
and the
allowed
rule
to
of law.
remain in office.
Donald
Again,
John Trump thus warrants
that's
impeachment
moot.
and trial, removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States, and demand that you, the said Donald John Trump, should be put to answer the accusations as set forth in this article, and that such proceedings, examinations, trials, and judgments might be thereupon had as are agreeable to law and justice.
Each senator, when his or her name is called, will stand in his or her place.
I don't expect any surprises
They'll
here. I
vote
think
guilty
the
or
only
not
one
guilty as required by
that
Rule
would be a
23
questionable one is the senator
of
from
the Senate
Louisiana
Rules of Impeachment.
who
Article 1,
said if this
Section
was
3, Clause
constitutional.
6 of the Constitution, regarding the vote required for conviction on impeachment, provides that, quote, "No person shall be convicted without the concurrence of two-thirds of the members present."
the other
close quote.
interesting thing is Leahy being
The
the
question is
judge,
on the article of impeachment.
part of the jury, and a
Senators,
witness.
how say
He's
you?
going to have to call his own
Is the
name
respondent
and
Donald
then
John Trump
vote.
guilty or not guilty? A roll call vote is required, and the clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, guilty. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso, not guilty. Mr. Bennett.
It'll be
Mr. Bennett, guilty.
55-45.
Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Blackburn, not guilty. Mr. Blumenthal. Mr. Blumenthal, guilty.
Oh no, they're asking for
Mr.
a
Blunt.
pause in the vote. We're gonna.
Mr. Blunt, not guilty.
Oh no, where did these 6,000
Booker.
paper ballots come from?
Mr. Booker, guilty. Mr. Bozeman. Mr. Bozeman, not guilty. Mr. Braun. Mr. Braun, not guilty. Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, guilty.
These
Mr.
fools.
Burr. Mr. Burr, guilty. Ms. Cantwell,
Let's see, who's gonna have
Ms.
the first
Cantwell,
op-ed out when
guilty.
when it's all over?
Mrs. Capito. Mrs. Capito, not guilty. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Cardin, guilty.
Sorry about that, guys.
Mr. Carper.
I should be back on.
Mr. Carper, guilty. Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey, guilty. Mr. Cassidy. Mr. Cassidy, guilty. Ms. Collins.
Sorry, guys. Might have my dogs down here with me.
Ms.
so they're
Collins,
shaking
guilty.
collars. You'll hear it.
Mr. Coons. Mr. Coons, guilty. Mr. Cornyn. Mr. Cornyn, not
No
guilty.
surprises. Yes. Let's find for Cassidy.
Ms. Cortez Masto.
Oh, they already did Cassidy.
Ms. Cortez Masto, guilty. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Cotton, not guilty. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Kramer, not guilty. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Crapo, not guilty.
I should have a list of senators in front of me.
Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz, not guilty. Mr. Daines. Mr. Daines, not guilty. Ms. Duckworth. Ms. Duckworth, guilty.
Psycho.
Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, guilty. Ms. Ernst. Ms. Ernst, not guilty. Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, guilty. Mrs. Fisher. Mrs. Fisher, not guilty. Mrs. Gillibrand. Mrs. Gillibrand, guilty. Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, not guilty.
Next three
Mr.
is
Grassley.
Grassley and Haggerty.
Mr. Grassley, not guilty. Mr. Haggerty. Mr. Haggerty,
Hassan
not guilty.
from New Hampshire.
Ms. Hassan.
Or Hassan.
Ms. Hassan, guilty. Mr. Hawley. Mr. Hawley,
Interesting, all the
Not
lawyers
guilty.
that have voted guilty.
Mr.
probably
Heinrich.
would have the case thrown out
Mr.
of court.
Heinrich, guilty. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, guilty. Ms. Hirono. Ms. Hirono, guilty.
Surprised you didn't
Mr.
have another
Hoven.
outburst.
Mr. Hoven, not guilty. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mrs. Hyde-Smith, not guilty. Mr. Inhofe. Mr. Inhofe, not guilty. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, not guilty. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane, guilty. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly,
So far, we're
Guilty.
straight party line.
Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, not guilty. Mr. King. Mr. King,
King's the independent
Guilty.
from Maine.
Ms. Klobuchar. Ms. Klobuchar,
Klobuchar from Minnesota.
guilty. Mr. Langford. Mr. Langford, not guilty. Mr. Leahy.
Guilty.
Mr. Leahy, guilty. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, not guilty. Mr. Lujan. Mr. Lujan, guilty. Ms. Lummis. Ms.
The
Lummis,
Republican from
Not
Wyoming, if you
guilty.
don't know who that is.
Mr. Manchin. Mr. Manchin,
Joe Manchin would have been
Guilty.
the one I thought
Mr.
maybe
Markey.
would have been off
Mr.
party
Markey,
line.
guilty.
For the Democrats, didn't happen.
Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall,
Here comes
not
Mitch
guilty.
McConnell. This is
Mr.
interesting.
McConnell.
And
Mr.
he voted
McConnell,
not guilty. He was the
not
one who
guilty.
said this was constitutional.
Menendez.
People are going to be giving him shit, I'm pretty
Mr.
sure.
Menendez, guilty. Mr. Merkley. Mr. Merkley,
Okay, two more.
Guilty.
Lisa Murkowski, who will probably be the
Moran.
first Republican to go to
Mr.
the
Moran,
dark side.
not guilty.
There she is.
Ms. Murkowski. Ms. Murkowski, guilty.
She will be done in Alaska.
Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy,
We got a stretch of Democrats.
guilty. Mrs. Murray. Mrs. Murray, guilty. Mr. Ossoff.
Ossoff,
Mr.
journalist,
Ossoff,
documentary film
guilty.
producer, and news senator from
Mr.
Georgia.
Padilla. Mr. Padilla, guilty. Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul,
So one Republican
not
so
guilty.
far.
Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters, guilty. Mr. Portman. Mr. Portman, not guilty. Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, guilty. Mr. Risch. Mr. Risch, not guilty. Mr.
Mitt
Romney.
Romney.
Mr. Romney, guilty.
Ah,
Ms. Rosen.
he's done in Utah.
Ms. Rosen, guilty. Mr. Rounds. Mr. Rounds, not guilty. Mr. Rubio. Mr. Rubio,
Got Sanders
not guilty.
Sass
Mr.
shots coming up.
Sanders. Mr. Sanders.
Ben Sass.
Guilty.
Let's see where he
Mr.
goes.
Sass. Mr. Sass, guilty. Mr. Schatz.
He said that awfully
Mr.
quick.
Schatz, guilty. Mr. Schumer.
The smarmy prick from New York.
Mr. Schumer, guilty. Mr. Scott of Florida. Mr. Scott of Florida, not guilty. Mr. Scott of South Carolina. Mr. Scott of South Carolina, not guilty. Mrs. Shaheen. Mrs. Shaheen, guilty.
Cinema's
Shelby.
coming up. Let's see what she does.
Mr. Shelby, not guilty. Ms. Sinema. Ms. Sinema, guilty. Ms. Smith.
That's one
Smith,
of our senators from Minnesota.
Guilty. Ms. Stabenow. Ms. Stabenow, guilty. Mr. Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan, not guilty. Mr. Tester. Mr. Tester, guilty. Mr. Thune. Mr. Thune, not guilty. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis, not guilty. Mr.
Toomey's another one. Yep, that's
Mr. Toomey,
Toomey from
guilty.
Pennsylvania.
Mr. Tuberville.
Is another one.
Mr.
A Republican
Tuberville,
from Pennsylvania.
not guilty.
Won't hurt
Mr.
him though
Van Hollen.
because Pennsylvania's right on the cusp.
Mr. Van Hollen, guilty. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner, guilty. Mr. Warnock.
And the
Mr.
other
Warnock,
new senator
guilty.
from
Ms.
Georgia.
Warren.
No shock there.
Ms. Warren, guilty. Mr. Whitehouse.
But we're running
Mr.
out of
Whitehouse,
senators.
guilty. Mr.
And it's going to
Wicker,
be 55-45,
Mr. Wicker.
just as we thought.
not guilty. Mr.
Oh,
Wyden.
50, wait a minute, 56.
Mr. Wyden, guilty. Mr. Young.
And that is the last senator.
Mr. Young, not guilty.
So that's all the senators, 57-43. So he is not convicted of the so-called crime in which he supposedly partook. And what's interesting, now they thought that they would be able to go and have a separate vote on whether or not they could strip him of the right to run again, a la 14th Amendment. They cannot do that now because you would have to be convicted to be able to get that.
That's why we have these things.
To get that as part of the,
Unless you had
the
a script.
record. So, so much for that. And thank you for the giant waste of time. And so what do you think, gang? Fucking lawyers voting guilty on an unconstitutional process. It'll be really nice pushing these pricks against the wall. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of these people. Let me pull myself on the screen here and rearrange my windows here.
The yeas are 57. The nays are 43.
All right, let's put this back up.
2/3 of the senators present not having voted guilty. The Senate judges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the article of impeachment. The presiding officer directs judgment to be entered in accordance with the judgment of the Senate as follows. The Senate, having tried Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, upon one article of impeachment exhibited against him by
My
the
pleasure,
House
Blue
of
Fan. Anyone
Representatives.
else saying thank you? I just, I wish I would have done this earlier. I had a basketball game this morning
Not
with my
having
kids,
found him
and
guilty of the
we
charge
lost quite
contained
handily.
therein,
But I
it is
realized
therefore
as I was watching
ordered
this, I
and
probably
adjudged
should be putting it on
that
the
the
screens.
said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby acquitted of the charge in said article.
All right, so looks like they're going
Mr.
to
President.
adjourn.
Majority leaders recognized.
Mr. President, I send an order to the desk.
And the clerk will report.
I'm just
Order
leaving the volume
that
on
the
for
Secretary
now.
be directed to communicate to the Secretary of State as provided by Rule 23 of the Rules of Procedure and Practice in the Senate when sitting on impeachment trials, and also to the House of Representatives, the judgment of the Senate in the case
AOC's
of Donald John
screaming.
Trump,
She's crying
and
in
transmit
front
a
of an
certified
empty parking
copy
lot.
of the judgment to each.
Without objection, the order will be entered.
Here, I'll go back to this.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate, sitting as a court of impeachment on the article against Donald John Trump, adjourn sine die.
And without objection, the motion is agreed to. The Senate, sitting as a court of impeachment, stands adjourned sine die. And could I have order, please? The presiding officer, the acting sergeant at arms will escort the House managers out of the Senate chamber. In order.
So this woman in brown that's talking to Leahy right now, she's really been running the show. He's about as feeble as Joe Biden in some cases and doesn't always know what's going on. So whatever. So it came out as expected. One more. I'm trying to figure out which. Oh, there you go. Burr, Collins, Cassidy, Murkowski, Romney, Sass, and Toomey were the Republican senators who voted for impeachment. Traitors, you know what? I'm not going to go so strong a word as traitors. I just think they're jackasses, I would say. I just,
Mr. President,
if you actually went by the evidence,
Mr. President, can we have order?
There is no evidence. What?
The Senate is not in order, and the Senate will be in order.
Why?
Mr. President,
adjourned.
I ask unanimous consent the Senate be in a period of morning business with senators permitted to speak therein for up to 10 minutes each.
Without objection, so ordered.
Why? The Senate's adjourned.
Does any senator
Good
seek
God.
recognition?
Let's see, who's going to come up and
Senator from New
bitch
York,
first? This would be
Majority Leader.
interesting. I wasn't planning on this part.
Mr. President, the case
Toomey's
of
not going
Donald
for
Trump's
re-election,
second
okay.
impeachment trial was open. Mr. President, can we have order, please?
You're
The
adjourned.
senator's right. The Senate is not in order. Senate will be in order. Senate will be in order.
So they're going to give their bitch
Please take
session
your
speeches,
conversations
basically.
off the floor.
Let me say hi to everybody who's here while they're babbling.
Thank you, Mr.
Senator
President.
Gunfox
President.
61, you get
The
the
case
bell.
of Donald
Thanks
Trump's
for jumping
second
in.
impeachment trial was open and shut. President Trump told a lie, a big lie, that the election was stolen
Hello, Jonathan
and that
Peterson.
he
Zero
was the
hero,
rightful
Jesse
winner.
Lyon, Special K at Assets.
He laid the groundwork for this
Select a
big
boy.
lie in the months before the election. He told the big lie on election night, and he repeated the big
Mr.
lie
Dax,
more
how
than
you
100
doing? Mike
times
Savage,
in the weeks
Blard.
afterwards. He summoned his supporters to
Black
Washington,
Hebrews
assembled
Delight.
them on the ellipse, whipped them into a frenzy, and directed them
Uncle
at the
Bad Touch.
Capitol.
You know, this guy shouldn't be
And
talking
then
at all.
he watched
Remember when the Supreme Court
as the
thing was going
violence
on,
unfolded,
and
the
he's
Capitol
saying that
was
the
breached.
justices
And his
should
own
watch
vice
their
president
backs.
fled for his life, and President Trump did nothing.
Unbelievable.
None
Uncle
of
Bad
these
Touch, how you
facts were
doing?
up for debate.
Big Assassinati.
We saw it. We heard it.
Zombie Teddy.
We
Hello,
lived
Amy
it.
in Connecticut. John Smith.
This was the first presidential impeachment trial
Everybody
in history
loves Devin. Yeah, they
in
do.
which all
I bet they
senators
do.
were not only judges and jurors, but witnesses to the constitutional crime that was committed.
Duck Dog, what's
The
happening?
former president inspired, directed, and
Blue
propelled a
Font, tell you
mob
what,
to
what's up?
violently prevent the peaceful
Chicago
transfer
Mike.
of power, subvert the will of the people, and illegally keep that
Galactic
president
North,
in
what's up?
power. There is nothing more un-American than that. There is nothing more antithetical to our democracy.
John Sislowski, what's happening?
There is nothing more insulting to the generations of American patriots who gave their
well,
lives
here's what I think
to
of you, Chuck
defend
Schumer.
our form of government. This was the most egregious
Why are you so angry?
violation
What's
of the
happening?
presidential oath of office
Renee
and a
Mayette.
textbook.
Hey, guess what, Chuck Schumer?
Textbook example.
Not
A classic
guilty.
example
Biatch.
of an impeachable offense worthy of the Constitution's most severe remedy. In response to the incontrovertible fact of Donald Trump's guilt,
Well,
the Senate was subject to a feeble and sometimes
small man. Hello,
incomprehensible defense of the former president. Unable to dispute the case on the merits, the
There were
former
no
president's
merits.
counsel treated us to partisan vitriol,
there was no.
false equivalence, and outright falsehoods.
Oh, Chuck Schumer,
We
just
heard
having
the
your own
roundly
words thrown back
debunked
in your face is
jurisdictional argument
terrible.
that the Senate cannot try a former official, a position that would mean that any president could simply resign to avoid accountability for an impeachable offense.
No, they didn't.
A position which, in effect, would render the Senate powerless to ever enforce the disqualification clause in the Constitution.
They didn't try to impeach Nixon
Essentially,
after the
the President's counsel told the Senate that the Constitution was unconstitutional.
Oh,
Thankfully,
no.
the Senate took a firm stance.
No. The other
Set
way
a firm
around.
precedent with a bipartisan vote in favor of our power to try former officials for acts they committed while in office. We heard the preposterous claim that the former president's incitement to violence was protected by the First Amendment. The First Amendment right to free speech
The reason
protects
Schumer's
Americans
still
from
there is
jail,
because his plane doesn't
not
leave until
presidents from
5
impeachment.
o'clock Eastern time, so he has some
If the
time.
president had said during World War II that, quote, Germany should attack the United States on Long Island, we've left it undefended, I suspect Congress would have considered that an
Holy
impeachable
shit, talk about
offense.
false equivalence.
Finally, the defense
Holy
counsel
shit.
said that
That's
President
the
Trump was
assaulty,
not
but
directly
assaulty as his
responsible
bitch ass.
for
You're
the
right,
violence at the
Gunfox
Capitol.
61.
Quote, his words were merely a metaphor, his directions were merely suggestions, and the violent mob was just a spontaneous demonstration.
Oh.
But wind the clock back and ask yourself, if at any point Donald Trump did not do the things he did, would the attack on the Capitol have happened? There's only one answer to this question.
There was
Of course not.
That was planned before he
President
even
Trump
had his
hadn't
speech.
told
There
his
was already a
supporters to
group
march
that was
to the
having a
Capitol.
rally that
If
day.
he hadn't implored them to come to Washington
Oh, you lying
on
piece of
January
shit.
6th in the first place.
Hello, used.
If he hadn't repeatedly lied to them,
Used
the election
03.
was stolen, their country was being taken from them, the attack would not have happened, could not have happened.
You don't know that, John.
January 6th would
Those
not
people were
have
coming
happened
anyway.
but for the actions of Donald Trump. Here's what the Republican leader of the Senate said. The mob that perpetrated the, quote, failed insurrection, unquote, was on January 6th was, quote,
Again, I'll
provoked
say this.
by President Trump.
If that was an insurrection, that was the worst planned and poorly executed insurrection ever in the history of the world. They did not, they made a lot of noise, went into the building, took a bunch of selfies, broke some shit, and left. If the president had explicitly said, quiet, lay down. It's my dog, sorry. One of them. My dog's with me. If he would have specifically told those 10,000 or 20,000 people there for the speech to go take the Capitol, and they did that, then I would say it was an insurrection. But guess what? Vast majority of the people who were at that speech,
what might become
vast majority of the people who were at that speech didn't even go to the Capitol. So either he failed to have his instructions explicit enough for everyone to go, and in fact, he would have had to have it explicit enough for most of the main people to go before he was done with his speech. Then there's no way. There's just no way. That's not. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm yelling at you. I don't know.
black that any president has ever committed.
Hell yeah.
And the majority of Republicans cannot summon the courage or the morality.
By the way, thank you,
condemn it.
Chicago Mike.
This trial
The YouTube
wasn't
super chat.
about choosing country over party.
Just a second here.
Even not that.
Thank you for the YouTube
This
super
was
chat.
about
Chicago
choosing-
Mike, who says, Schumer, when was Nixon impeached? Was it after he resigned? Exactly. They didn't
Trump.
continue with the impeachment.
They chose Trump.
This is Democrats
It
with
should
hate
be a
vote.
weight on their conscience
And Romney,
today. And it shall be a weight
trying to think of which ones.
on their
Romney and Toomey
conscience
in particular.
the future.
Pretty much
As sad as
Trump
that fact
types.
is, as condemnable as the decision was, it is still true that the final vote on Donald Trump's conviction was the largest and most bipartisan vote of any presidential impeachment trial in American history.
Irrelevant.
I salute those Republican
Irrelevant.
patriots who did the right thing. It wasn't easy. We know that. Let their votes be a message to the American people.
My statement
Because my fellow
was
Americans,
irrelevant.
if this nation is going to long endure, we as a people cannot sanction the former president's Congress. Because if lying about the results of an election is acceptable, if instigating a mob against the government is considered permissible, if encouraging political violence becomes the norm,
You asshole!
open season.
You've been happy about political violence for over a year. You have no room to talk,
be
you
up for grabs
dickbag.
by whoever
Jesus
has the
Christ!
biggest
Thank
clubs,
you, Renee Mayette.
the sharpest spears,
Schumer mad.
most
How
powerful
so
guns.
sad. 2024
not recognizing
will
the
be
heinous
had.
crime that Donald Trump committed against the Constitution,
I don't know what the little us
Republican
stand there, but
senators
that's okay.
have not only risked, but potentially
Thank you,
invited
Renee Mayette, my
the
dear.
same
I
danger
appreciate the
that was just
support.
visited upon us. So let me say this.
So what do you got to say there, Chuck?
Despite the results of the vote on Donald Trump's conviction in the court of impeachment, he deserves to be convicted, and I believe he will be convicted in the court of public opinion.
Oh, okay.
He deserves to be permanently discredited, and I believe he has been discredited in the eyes of the American people and in the judgment of history. Even though Republican senators prevented the Senate from disqualifying Donald Trump for any office of honor, trust, or profit under these United States, there is no question Donald Trump has disqualified himself.
Well,
I hope,
guess we'll find out.
I pray,
I don't think
and I
Trump's going to
believe
run in 2024
the
anyway.
American people
I honestly don't.
will make sure of that. And if Donald Trump ever stands for public office again, and after everything we have seen this week, I hope, I pray, and I believe that he will meet the unambiguous rejection by the American people.
I guess we'll find out if he does.
6
I'm pretty
hours
sure he
after the
won't.
attack on January 6th, after the carnage and mayhem was shown on every television screen in America, President Trump told his supporters to, quote, "Remember this day forever." I ask the American people to heed his words. Remember that day forever, but not for the reasons the former president intended. Remember the panic in the voices over the radio dispatch, the rhythmic pounding of fists and flags.
I'm just curious if that
the
kind of
chamber
panic was
doors.
happening the day
Remember
that
the crack of a solitary gunshot.
They stormed
Remember the hateful and racist Confederate
the Capitol
flags flying
during
through
the
halls of our union.
hearings for
Remember the
Judge Kavanaugh,
screams
when they
of the
took
bloody
over
officer
the Capitol building, when they
crushed
took over Nancy Pelosi's
when the
office,
onrushing mob
when they were
in a doorway to
pounding,
the Capitol,
trying to
his
break
body
into
trapped
the
in
Supreme
the
Court.
breach.
Who
Remember,
encouraged that? Oh,
3 Capitol
that
police
was
officers
Chuck
who lost
Schumer.
their lives. Remember that those rioters
If you truly
actually
believe this,
succeeded
Chuck Schumer,
in delaying
maybe you
Congress
should resign from office.
certifying the election. Remember how close our democracy came to ruin. My fellow Americans, remember that day, January 6th, forever. The final terrible legacy of the 45th President of the United States, and undoubtedly our worst.
Let's see. I'm curious who's
Let it
going to
live
speak
on
next.
in infamy, a stain on Donald John Trump that can never, never be washed away.
I need a new chair. This is too
Mr. President, on Monday, we'll recognize President's Day. Part of the commemoration in the Senate will be the annual reading of Washington's farewell address.
great.
Aside from winning the Revolutionary War, I consider it his greatest contribution
Yeah,
to
you unleashed the
American
world with that
civil
was his line,
life.
wasn't it? Thanks,
And it had
Jason
nothing to
Leon.
do with the words he spoke, but the example it set. Washington's farewell address, established for all time,
So I'm going to leave
that
him
no one
running,
had
but
the
I also
right
want to look
to
up
the office of the
I want to check a
presidency,
couple things real quick while
that
he's
it
talking.
belonged to the people.
Let's see.
What
if
an
this is up
amazing
here
legacy.
yet.
What an amazing gift to the future generations. The knowledge that this country will always be greater than any one person,
Trying to
even our
find-
most renowned. That's why members of both parties take turns reading Washington's address once a year in full into the record,
Let's see the Twitter
to
chat
pledge
here.
common attachment to the selflessness at the core of our democratic system.
Thank you, Becca Fairley,
This
by the
trial
way, for
was
tweeting
about
out
the
show.
final acts of a president who represents
I'm
the
gonna
very
retweet hers 'cause I am
antithesis
live
of our
right
first
now.
president,
See if anyone
and
else
sought
shows
to
up.
place
Hello,
one
Assassin
man
of the Gray.
before the entire country,
Here, let's put Chuck back
himself. Let the record show,
on. Not that I'm sure that's not
Let
what
the
you want to
record
see,
show.
but what the hell?
before God, history, and the solemn oath we swear to the Constitution,
So there
that
are
there
two-
was
two more
only
senators
one
than I
correct
expected.
verdict in this trial,
Voted to
guilty. And I pray
verdict.
that while justice was not done in this trial
What about the 14-year-olds
carried
killed in
forward
Chaz? Isn't that just
by
true?
the American people, who above any of us in this chamber
Oh, great. We have a new sponsor. I will be reading the new
destiny
sponsor here in a moment.
of our great nation.
All right.
I
Now,
yield the floor.
in between Chuck Schumer, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to our new sponsor. Thank you, Gun Fox, for bringing it to my attention. American Company brings you a new product line, the Salt Shovel and Salt Bags, to protect yourself from heavy levels of salt and salty tears. On sale now at American Company Products. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate the donation, Gun Fox. Please write your ads for impeachment day.
January 6th was a disgrace. American citizens attacked their own government. They used terrorism to try to stop a specific piece
what Mitch was going to
of
say.
domestic business
So we're
they
going to
did
get
not
to
like.
in here right now. And I'm just
Fellow Americans beat and bloodied our own police.
Yes, they did.
They stormed the
It was an
Senate
awful
floor.
day.
They tried to hunt down the Speaker of the House,
I don't know that they did, but
They built a
if
gallows
they did,
and
they
chanted
didn't do it
about-
very well.
murdering.
Hello, cameraman Jay
Vice
and
President.
cynical Lindsay.
They did this because they'd been fed wild falsehoods
Really? I don't know.
By the most
I guess we're gonna
powerful
have to
man
find
on
out,
earth.
Mitch.
because he was angry he lost an election.
Yes, he was. I think he was.
Former President Trump's actions preceded
A
the
lot of
riot
dead people.
for a disgraceful,
Wait a minute. Who's this guy?
their election of duty.
Oh, I don't know.
The House accused the former president of, quote, incitement. That is a specific term from the criminal law.
Yes, it is. At least he's recognizing
Let me
that.
just put that aside
That
for a
was not
moment and
proven,
reiterate
and we'll
something
set that
I
aside for a
said
moment.
weeks ago.
Yes.
There's no question.
No question.
That President Trump is practically and morally responsible
What?
for provoking the events of the day.
I don't know that that's
No question
the
about
case,
it.
but we'll see what happens.
The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes
So are you voted against it,
and
Mitch?
instructions
Now, I'm not sure what the hell you're talking
of their
about.
president. And having that belief was a foreseeable consequence of the growing crescendo of false statements
I don't know that you
conspiracy
necessarily
theories
could think it'd be violence.
and
but
reckless hyperbole,
that is a
which the
reason they
defeated
did it.
president kept shouting into the largest megaphone on planet Earth.
So why did you vote no, Mitch? I'm not getting
The
it.
issue is not only the president's intemperate language on
Yes,
January 6th.
peacefully and patriotically. That's intemperate language.
It is not just his endorsement of remarks in which an associate urged, quote, trial by combat.
What the hell are you
It was
talking
also
about, Mitch?
the entire manufactured atmosphere of looming catastrophe, the increasingly wild myths about a reverse landslide election that was somehow being stolen, some secret coup.
No, it was a out in the open coup
Our
by
now
the
president.
media and the people who were putting their thumbs
Now, I
on the
defended the
scales.
president's right to bring any complaints to our
Tech
legal
media
system.
and social media and all
The
those
legal
other people.
system spoke.
Yes, they spoke.
The Electoral College spoke.
No, yes, they did.
As I stood up and said clearly at that time, the election was settled. It was
Well,
over.
I guess so, because you didn't let any of the cases go through the courts.
But that just really opened a new chapter of even wilder, and more unfounded claims.
As Mitch
The leader of the free world cannot
do
spend
damage
weeks
control, what is he
thundering
doing here?
that shadowy forces are stealing our country and then feign surprise when people believe him and do reckless things. Now, sadly, many politicians sometimes make overheated comments or use metaphors. We saw that.
Sometimes we do it all the time.
That
If you're
unhinged
comparing it to what
listeners
Donald Trump
might
said,
take literally.
but I think maybe you're
But that was different.
just deflecting.
That's different from what
Hello,
we saw.
Sapphire Dragon, and
This was an
other people in
intensifying
the chat that I
crescendo
haven't said hello
of
to.
conspiracy theories
Evolved
orchestrated
Potato,
by an
how you
outgoing
doing?
president
Nice
who
to see
seemed
ya.
determined to either overturn the voters' decision or else torch our institutions on the way out.
Well, I don't know about that.
The unconscionable behavior did not end when the violence actually began. Whatever our ex-president claims he thought
assassin of the gray, I
might
agree
happen
with you
that
there.
day.
And I'm not sure what the hell Mitch
Whatever
McConnell's
reaction
talking
he
about. Hello,
says he
Jaeger Pony,
meant to
Dawg
produce.
Knight's favorite Canadian.
By that afternoon, we know he was watching the same live television
No,
as the rest of us.
we don't know that, Mitch, because
A mob
he had just barely finished the speech
was
and the
assaulting
mob was
the
already
Capitol
there.
in his
So he probably
name.
wasn't watching the TV.
These criminals were carrying his banners, hanging his flags,
I'm good.
and screaming their loyalty to
Lindsay,
him.
I'm sure that I'm getting to a point, but I don't really know what it is.
It was obvious that only President Trump could end this.
How could President Trump have
He was
ended
the only
it?
one.
I'm wondering.
could.
The only time he tried to
Former aides
tell people to
publicly
stop,
begged him
they
to do
cut
so.
off his Twitter feed.
Loyal allies frantically called the administration.
Did they now?
The president did not act swiftly. He did not do his job. He didn't take steps so federal law could be faithfully executed.
We don't. Thought
An
they
order
made some
restored?
calls.
No.
All these people who knew this was coming
Instead,
didn't protect the
according to
Capitol
public
very well.
reports, he
Okay,
watched
I'm gonna
television
walk
happily.
away for a second and let my dogs
Happily.
out. I'll be right back.
As the chaos unfolded, he kept pressing his scheme to overturn the election. Now, even after it was clear to any reasonable observer that Vice President Pence was in serious danger, even as the mob, carrying Trump banners, was beating cops and breaching perimeters, the president sent a further tweet attacking his own vice president. Now, predictably and foreseeably under the circumstances, members of the mob seem to interpret this as a further inspiration to lawlessness and violence, not surprisingly. Later, even when the president did half-heartedly begin calling for peace, he didn't call right away for the riot to end. He did not tell the mob to depart until even later. And even then, with police officers bleeding and broken glass covering Capitol floors, he kept repeating election lies and praising the criminals. In recent weeks, our ex-president's associates have tried to use the 74 million Americans who voted to re-elect him as a kind of human shield against criticism. Using the 74 million who voted for him as a kind of a human shield against criticism. Anyone who decries his awful behavior is accused of insulting millions of voters. That's an absurd deflection. 74 million Americans did not invade the Capitol. Hundreds of rioters did. 74 million Americans did not engineer the campaign of disinformation and rage that provoked it. One person did, just one. Now, I've made my view of this episode very plain. But our system of government gave the Senate a specific task. The Constitution gives us a particular role. This body is not invited to act as the nation's overarching moral tribunal. We're not free to work backward from whether the accused party might personally deserve some kind of punishment.
It's nice that when it's
Justice
this cold
Joseph
out,
Story, our nation's first great
my dogs
constitutional
come right
scholar,
in after they do their business instead of hanging out outside.
as he explained nearly 200 years ago, the process of impeachment and conviction is a narrow tool
Hello, Earl. What's up?
for a
Or the
narrow
Earl Funktum, funky
purpose.
animal.
Story explained this limited tool exists
Hello,
to,
Diff
quote,
Baby.
secure the state against gross
I'm curious why he,
official
if he's saying this, why
misdemeanors,
did he vote no?
end quote.
Because he did, well,
That is,
Death BB, my theory,
to protect
the
the
reason
country.
he didn't vote, right, the reason he voted no is because it didn't meet the definition of incitement. Okay, so all the stuff he's saying, I'm not sure what his point is.
Their specific charge. By the strict criminal standard, the president's speech probably was not incitement.
It was not incitement. From
However,
well, that
however,
however what?
in the context of
Oh,
impeachment,
shit.
the Senate might have decided this was acceptable shorthand for the reckless actions that preceded the riot.
But not something that you can convict
But in this
on
case, the question
in a
is
court of
moot
law.
because former President Trump is constitutionally not eligible
Good
for
question,
conviction.
Patrice.
Now, this is a
By the way,
close
hello,
question.
Patrice. Hello,
No
hello,
doubt.
Patrice.
Donald Trump was the president when the House voted, though not when the House chose to deliver the papers. Brilliant scholars argue both
So
sides.
he's arguing he
of
voted
this
no because this was
jurisdictional
an unconstitutional impeachment.
The
in the first
text is
place.
legitimately ambiguous.
He's fence straddling.
I respect my colleagues who've reached either conclusion. But after intense reflection, I believe the best constitutional reading shows that Article 2,
Hello, Jedi Ghost Bear.
Section 4, exhausts the set of persons who can legitimately be impeached, tried, or convicted.
Your theory is the Democrats would have
It's the president,
much better chance of getting
it's the
conviction
vice
if they had
president,
added its dereliction
and
of
civil
duty to the counts.
officers.
That could
We
be
have no
Jedi
power
Ghost Bear, but they didn't.
Convict and disqualify a former office holder who is now
The Democrats didn't think
a
this
private
through.
citizen.
They didn't think about the legal
Here is
precedent on
Article 2.
incitement
Section 4.
and
Quote, the
the
president
dereliction of duty. Well, it would be interesting to
vice
see if they
president.
would have gotten that one.
and all civil officers of the United States shall be
now it's
removed
too
from
late.
office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, end quote. Now, everyone basically agrees that the second half of that sentence exhausts the legitimate grounds for conviction. The debates around the Constitution's framing make that abundantly clear. Congress cannot convict for reasons besides those. It therefore follows that the list of persons in that same sentence is also exhaustive. There's no reason why one list would be exhaustive, but the other would not.
So he voted no on technical.
Article 2,
merits
Section
and
4
the-
must limit both why impeachment and conviction can occur and to
They really
whom.
wanted conviction because they'd like to hang at this
And to
albatross on
whom.
the neck of Republicans for the next decade. I
If this
give you
provision
a
does not limit
bell for that,
impeachment and
Jedi
conviction
Ghost Bear.
powers, then it has no limits at all. The House has sole power of impeachment, and the Senate's sole power to try all impeachments would create an unlimited circular logic empowering Congress to ban any private citizen from federal office.
No,
Now, that's an
makes
incredible
sense.
claim.
That doesn't make sense. Hello, Howard Welsh. How you doing?
But it's the argument the House managers seem to be making. One
Howard
manager
Welsh,
said
there's
the
no
House and
such
Senate
thing
have,
as late
quote,
when I stream
absolute,
on the weekends, because I don't even know when I'm going to do it. But thanks for dropping
power,
in. I appreciate you being here.
Well, that was very honest, because there is no limiting principle in the constitutional text that would empower the Senate to convict former officers that would not also let them convict and disqualify any private citizen.
So I'm probably going to stop.
An absurd
watching
end
after
result
Mitch.
to which no one subscribes. Article 2, Section 4 must have force. It tells us the President, the Vice President,
Jenna Gosper, you are correct.
and civil
they
officers
could still vote
may be
to
impeached
censure Trump
and convicted.
and probably get overwhelming results.
Donald Trump's no longer the President.
I think that they possibly could. I don't know if overwhelming.
Likewise, the
censure,
provision
I think
states that
only
officers
50%
subject
vote
to
anyways. That's
impeachment
all
and
they need.
conviction
They
shall
could
be
just-
removed from office if
They would need a
convicted.
single Republican, I know,
Shall
for that.
be removed from
Hello,
office
TC Ball.
if convicted. As Justice Story explained, the Senate, upon conviction, is bound in all cases to enter a judgment of removal from office. Removal is mandatory upon conviction.
Couldn't do it.
Clearly, he explained, that mandatory sentence cannot be applied to someone who's left office. The entire process revolves around
Wow, check out
removal.
Gunfox's breaking news in the chat.
If removal becomes impossible, conviction
Although we're already at
becomes
11 below where I
insensible.
live, so maybe we'll get
In
some.
one light, it certainly does seem
some
counterintuitive
blizzards or
that an office holder can elude Senate conviction by resignation or expiration of term, an argument we heard made by the managers. But this underscores
Hello,
that
Irene
impeachment was
Prostate.
never meant to be the final forum for American justice. Never meant to be the final forum for American justice. Impeachment, conviction, and removal are a specific intra-governmental safety valve. It is not the criminal justice system where individual accountability is the paramount goal. Indeed, Justice Story specifically reminded that while former officials were not eligible for impeachment or conviction, they were, and this is extremely important, still liable to be tried and punished in the ordinary tribunals of justice.
Which ain't going to happen in
Put
this
another
case.
way,
They're gonna, someone's going to
language of
suggest
today,
it. I don't think it's going to happen.
President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary
But I
citizen,
don't know if he's
unless the statute of limitations is run,
interesting. He's
still liable
bringing
for
up
everything
this.
he did.
Because if they try
while
to
he's
take
in
this to a
office.
court, a legal court, it's going
Didn't
to
get away with
thrown out.
anything yet. Yeah.
It's going to get thrown out, Mitch. What are you talking
We have a criminal
about?
justice system in this country. We have civil litigation.
Hello, Advocatus
And
Diablo. How
former
you
presidents
doing?
are not immune from being
Also, good
accountable
good
by
afternoon to the
either
gayest person on
one.
YouTube.
I believe the Senate was
C-SPAN is
right
broadcasting at half speed.
not to
Let me
grab
see if
power
am
the
I caught up on
Constitution
this?
doesn't
Yeah, I
give
am
us.
on current live, so I can't even speed this up. I wish I could.
And the Senate was right not to entertain some light-speed sham process to try to outrun the loss.
One
of
thing I am
jurisdiction.
going to do is I am going to put this to 1.5 times
It
speed.
took both
and I'm gonna
sides more than a
pause
week
when I
just to
yell
produce
at
their
Mitch.
pretrial briefs. Speaker Pelosi's own scheduling decisions conceded what President Biden publicly confirmed. A Senate verdict before Inauguration Day was never possible. Now, Mr. President, this has been a dispiriting time. But the Senate has done our duty. The framers' firewall held up again.
Oh, I guess it was behind.
On January the 6th, we returned to our posts and certified the election. We were uncowed. We were not intimidated. We finished the job. And since then, We resisted the clamor to defy our own constitutional guardrails in hot pursuit of a particular outcome.
Maybe I was behind.
We refused to continue a cycle of recklessness by straining our own constitutional boundaries in response. The Senate's decision today does not condone anything that happened on or before that terrible day. It simply shows that senators
was
did
a little bit behind there. Hello, Richo. How you
what the
doing?
former president failed to do. We put our constitutional duty first.
Okay. Let's see who's if anyone I want to listen to is coming up.
Senator
next.
from Maryland.
Oh, there's the cigarette girl.
Thank you, Mr. President. I take this time to explain why I voted to convict the former president of the United States, Donald Trump,
Ben Cardin.
of the articles of impeachment presented by the House of Representatives
Mute him
in regards to the incitement.
and see if there's anyone that I really care about hearing. Some other things happening here. Let me see if I can find what I was looking for here. Let's see. Please forgive me here for this. What is this? Finnegan Fox throws a... Okay, that's not interesting. I'm just skipping Ben Cardin right now. By the way, not breaking news, but things from last night. Lincoln Project co-founder Steve Schmidt resigned last night. Lincoln Project's going straight down the shitter with the dude that was propositioning young men. Here it is right here from Axios. Oh, what is this? I don't want this shit. Put that up my screen. Here's the scoop. Oh, what the hell? I don't even have this on. Hang on a second. Let me fix this. There we go. And move that over. Lincoln Project co-founder resigns. Lincoln Project co-founder Steve Schmidt is resigning from the group's board amid a series of scandals that has rocked the high-dollar anti-Trump super PAC. Axios has learned why it matters. Schmidt, a veteran Republican operative who's really just a grifter on steroids, is the latest and most high-profile departure from the group, which is reeling from revelations that another co-founder, John Weaver, used offers of professional advancement in a series of attempts to solicit sex from young men. Background: Smith's resignation comes amid a wave of damaging stories for the Lincoln Project, of which are the New York Times reporting last month on allegations that from 21 men that Weaver sent them unsolicited and sexually charged messages. One was 14 years old at the time. He likes them young. According to the report, multiple people have also reportedly been contacted by federal law enforcement regarding the alleged conduct. The Lincoln Project said it had hired an external law firm to conduct an investigation into the matter. Yes, they hired a firm to investigate themselves. You know how that always goes. And then the Associated Press reported that a majority of the $90 million that the Lincoln Project has raised was paid to consulting firms tied to the group's founders and senior staff. Shocker. It's kind of like Black Lives Matter. And on Thursday, the group's official Twitter account tweeted screenshots of messages between a former senior staffer and a reporter writing a story on the group. Lincoln Project co-founder George Conway suggested the disclosures may have been illegal. Well, it's on their official Twitter account. Uh-oh. A series of controversies led to a number of resignations from the group this week. Lincoln Project senior advisor Kurt Bedella confirmed to Axios that he has also resigned from the group Friday. Nayer Hawk. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. That's disrespectful. Nayer Hawk, who signed on to host a video series for the group last week, also resigned on Friday. And Kamala's Tom Nichols, my God, that asshole. He's free Radio Free Tom or something like that. He blocked me on Twitter like 3 years ago. I still haven't figured out why. I really only interact with him a couple times, and it was always respectful. He's a jackass. Anyway, on Friday, said he was stepping down as an unpaid advisor. Well, they weren't paying you anyway, so what the fuck? Who cares? But FTG to the Lincoln Project. We can make this a special FTG Saturday. By the way, if you are here, which you are, if you're listening to me right now, put a like in that like section down there, that little thumb, whatever. This is going to be a rambling, very incongruent version of Saturday Night Live with and those of you in the round table. I'm glad you're here. Also, I didn't put this stream out on Twitter or anything, but if you'd be so kind, Becca Fairley did, and I retweeted her. If you're on Twitter, now if you're following me, you can retweet that also. Thank you, Truck and Bear, for already doing that for me. I'm just going to be a lazy ass, and I'm not going to tweet it myself because Becca Fairley did it for me, and I appreciate that. Okay, so what else? Let's just find stuff to talk about, or you can throw something in the chat, but let's see, what else? Okay, now you all know that Ace of Spades blog is kind of one of my favorite sources for aggregation, so to speak. But I'm going to read you their version of Steve Schmidt leaving, because it's just funny who wrote this. Ace himself wrote this, and this is just freaking hilarious. Lincoln Project co-founder Steve Schmidt resigns. Steve Schmidt offering, "I was molested as a kid" defense. "I am resigning to make room for a black female member. I'm converting to Judaism too." Says he says he plans to spend more time with his MSNBC. Yes, Mr. Republican conservative spends all his time on MSNBC. Anyway, now someone, one of the at Ryan Godursky, I don't know who that says, I emailed the Daily Beast today to see if they will continue to host Rick Wilson's podcast on their platform, given he was credibly accused of knowing about John Weaver's sexual harassment allegations and doing nothing. They did not respond. Okay. Amen and a woman. Yes, thank you, Amy in Connecticut. James Lindsay shared the pledges listed on the official Navy and Army websites, and it's very alarming. I'm not sure what that means, but I'll certainly look at that up. So they did not respond. That is not a statement of support. They did not respond as in, "Oh, yes, we're going to keep him on." I don't think so. I have no idea what jobs these guys would be able to get post-grift. Coaching youth soccer is out, and I don't mean because of the proximity to pedophilia. I just mean because they're grossly fat and look like they have an aneurysm if they farted wrong. Oh my God, it appears that Steve Schmidt's spin was, "I was sexually molested as a boy at youth camp." Oh no, did he put that's his reason? Here's his Twitter feed. Oh no, Steve Schmidt's full statement given to Miranda Green. Well, I don't give I guess I really don't care what he has to say about it, so I'm not going to read that. But one of his claims, he was molested as a child, so that's why he's leaving. Well, look, they knew about this at least since June, because there is evidence that they had. Oh no, the military is about to go woke. We'll see. They've had evidence about this at least known. Certifiable evidence that they all knew about this in July. So if he's waiting till February 13th, just before Valentine's Day, to resign because he was sexually molested as a young boy at camp, well, I don't know. Anyway, they continue. Can this be real? Is this really happening? "I'm resigning to make room for a black female member." I missed this. He's now converting to Judaism. Is he? Is that true? What's the problem? Was Islam too obvious, Steve? Wow, talk about shooting all of your big guns at once. Oh, is that what it is? Hang on, let's read some of this then. Okay, so is this the first part? Okay, here we go. Let's talk about Steve Schmidt's his diatribe here. It was, oh God, I don't want to read this too sensitively, but it was just a touch, a light one, and it lasted for only a moment. I was a 13-year-old boy at Rock Hill Boy Scout camp. His name was Ray, and he was the camp medic. The older scouts called him Gay Ray and taunted and teased us about our inevitable encounter with him when the itch of the mosquito bites became too much to bear. It happened almost precisely like the older kid said it would. Covered in bites, I went to the medical cabin. He told me to take my clothes off. I complied. He looked at my body and examined the bites just like that they said he would. He began applying the ointment just like they said he would, and I remember being paralyzed as his hands moved up my body, a brush over my penis. I remember all of this with perfect clarity up to the moment I was touched. The next part is fuzzier. I just know that I left. Then I came back to the camp, and I must have had a look on my face because I remember the laughing. The look on my face must have looked familiar to the other boys because it was the same one they must have had when they returned from Ray's exam. Camp continued, and I made sure never to return to the medical cabin. When I got home, I told my parents. The adults huddled, and the collective decision they made was to deal with it internally. He wasn't turned into the police because the consensus of the adults was that dealing with law enforcement would be traumatic for all the boys involved. In the end, we were told that Ray wouldn't return. I don't know what happened to him, and even when the day came that I had the power, money, and ability to find out, to do something to him or about him, I chose not to. Something else happened in that cabin that day. The extroverted little boy who walked in, died. An introverted boy with deep trust issues walked out. Steve Schmidt? Good Lord. Before that day, I had no memory of ever feeling anger after that day, and despite the passage of so many years, the anger never left. It has always been there. Below the surface, it has risen up many times over the years. Later in life, that anger would immolate my faith in the Catholic Church. My faith had been diminished to a flicker of flame by the time I served in the White House. I remember feeling like something had anchored me. It was stolen. I felt lost in a strange way. I would never have described myself as particularly religious. I reached out to see if I could get an audience with the man who had presided over my confirmation at St. Luke's Church in North Plainfield. Now, just makes me wonder if he had experiences at the Catholic Church too. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that because I have too many Catholic friends and I don't want to piss them off. Anyway, by this point, he was a Monsignor and the acting auxiliary bishop of the Metuchen Diocese. When I met him in Washington, he was Eminence Theodore Cardinal Merrick. Learning that man I had trusted to share my soul and deepest memories of my violation was amongst the most prolific of the Catholic Church sex criminals permanently shattered my faith and left me estranged from God. It was taken nearly 16 years, that betrayal, to find faith again, which I have during the process of my conversion to Judaism. So what the hell does this have to with him leaving the Lincoln Project? But I shall continue. A touch on a table at age 13 that lasted seconds has been a defining event in my life. It never went away. The moment bequeathed me the three companions of my life that are always close and often present: anger, shame, and depression. This guy's an asshole. I'm sorry. He's milking this for all it's worth. Depression has always been the companion I feared the most, and it's something I was too ashamed to admit I was struggling with and found I found help in a most unlikely place. Curtis Huck is a writer for Newsbusters. He attacks me and the Lincoln Project with fervor and glee, and yet one day he wrote bravely about his struggles with depression. When I read it, I felt it was meant for me, and I reached out to thank him. He saved my life and liberated me from a fear of seeking help. I will always be grateful for his courage, and I'm talking about my struggle in an open way for the first time because maybe it will be the case that I can help just one person understand what I couldn't until I was almost 50 years old. It wasn't my fault. He continues. I met a man for the first time in my life in late 2000. Now this sounds weird. This almost sounds like he's having. I met a man for the first time in my life in late 2006. His name was John Weaver. I met him at a fundraiser for Arnold Schwarzenegger, where John McCain was the headliner at the end of a 2006 campaign. I arrived at that event with Arnold, and I left with McCain. You slut. Anyway, within months under Weaver's leadership, the campaign had collapsed and was bankrupt. During all the time I worked for John McCain, I never heard of a single person even whisper that John Weaver was a predator. I did not have a professional relationship with John Weaver again until December 2019. Question is, how about a non-professional relationship? If you know what I mean. Knock, 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 knock. Anyway, I have said on the record that I learned about John Weaver's misconduct this past January. I know this is true, and I have certainty that the Lincoln Project's independent investigation into John Weaver's conduct will validate this, except for the, oh my God, this was going around the Lincoln Project in July of 2020. They knew before the election that John Weaver had some mild little issues, so to speak, no pun intended. My purpose in writing this isn't to express what and when I knew about John Weaver, but how I feel about him. Sorry, I can't help it. What he did and how many people he hurt. This is my truth. Oh my God, he used a fucking woke phrase. John Weaver has put me back into that faraway cabin with Ray, my Boy Scout leader. Wait a minute. I thought Ray was the camp, medic person. You lying piece of shit. I am incandescently angry about it. I'm angry because I know the damage that he caused me, and I know the journey that lies ahead for every young man that trusted, feared, and was abused by John Weaver. I know the shame, the guilt, the doubt, the depression, and the anger that lies ahead. I know John Weaver will be a lifelong companion for them in a way that Ray has been for me. That's not a really very good choice of verbiage, whatever. It just doesn't come out right. But anyway, I detest John Weaver in a way I can't articulate. The heartbreaks that young men felt unseen and unheard at an organization that I started. I am ashamed of it. I promise that we will release the full findings of our own investigation of ourselves. I promise we will release the full findings of what we discovered through an independent investigation of ourselves. Yes, we're independently investigating ourselves. Yes, I'm sure that'll be very accurate and just pristine. The truth. There is another truth about John Weaver of which I must speak. Like all predators, he is a skilled liar, and like all predators, he left clues. Well, I think people who raise $90 million and funnel the vast majority of it through their own companies, I think they're skilled liars too. Anyway, I had the surreal experience in the last month of being grilled by a national newspaper about my knowledge of John Weaver's misconduct. When I got off that call, I talked to another reporter of the same newspaper who said the newspaper has known for years. Well, if the newspaper has known for years, why weren't they reporting on it quite a while ago? When the Lincoln Project was damaging Donald Trump. Oh, damn! I figured it out myself. Since John Weaver's misconduct was made public, I learned about another national reporter that was going to write about Weaver, but then was ultimately dissuaded to do so by Weaver because he had told the reporter that his cancer had returned and that he had just 6 months to live. I was asked by a reporter if I thought the heart attack he told us about was real. The truth is, I don't know. I responded by saying, I don't know if he lives in Texas. I just know that he is a liar and a predator, and I wish our paths had never crossed. Unfortunately, they did, and we founded the Lincoln Project anyway. During these last weeks, I have been consumed by anger and rage as I have seen the attacks from the rancid collection of liars, thugs, and fascists. There's that word again. fascist, fuck off, including Donald Trump Jr. and Laura Ingraham, attacked the Lincoln Project, my character, and the character of my friends over John Weaver's amoral predations. Oh, I think they've been attacking the Lincoln Project on some of the other bullshit they did too. This is just the cherry on top of the cake, you asswipe. I am in a tough business, and I know what I signed up for. I am long past the moments of fear that gripped me when FBI agents showed up at my house to tell me I was on a hit list of the Trump bomber. Oh!
This makes me sad.
The truth is that these attacks awakened all of my old companions at once: shame, anger, and depression. For those around me, it is anger that has been most visible. For those who love me, it has been the depression. Aw, he's depressed. Either way, it has not brought out my best self. I am not the daily manager of the Lincoln Project, but I am the senior leader. As the senior leader, it is my responsibility to set an example and assume accountability. I would like to apologize to Jennifer Horn. I let my anger turn a business dispute into a public war that is distracted from the fight against whatever the hell he has here. Is there a third fucking page of this shit? Oh my God. This is it. I let my anger turn a business dispute into a public war that is distracted from the fight against American fascism. Good God. Jennifer was an important and valuable member of the team. Truth be told, I didn't interact with Jennifer very often, but I always enjoyed the occasions when we did. She deserved better from me. She deserved a leader who could restrain his anger. I am sorry for my failure. Yesterday, I was shown the correspondence between Jennifer Horn and Amanda Becker, a reporter at 19th News. I was told it came from an anonymous source. That direct message should never have been made public. It is my job as a senior leader to accept responsibility for the tremendous misjudgment to release this. Look, these assholes made a living off of just trying to destroy people, literally with personal shit, not with anything that actually had anything to do with what they were doing, their job or anything. And particularly with the Trump organization, they were smearmongers. So the idea that this was an accident is complete and utter bullshit until they figured out that what they did might be illegal. Anyway, I apologize on behalf of the organization to both Jennifer Horn and Amanda Becker. I woke up this morning and realized I'd been fighting for a long time. It's taken a toll, and I'm tired. Oh, poor child. Presently, the Lincoln Project board is made up of 4 middle-aged... Oh, my God, I thought he was kidding. I thought they were kidding what they did here. He said here. Oh my God, he's gonna do the white male bullshit. Oh my God.
You're fucking a white male!
Presently, the Lincoln Project board is made up of 4 middle-aged white men. That composition doesn't reflect our nation nor our movement. Yes, it does. 4 asshole white men. It doesn't matter if they're white men. They're still 4 assholes. Are you going to add a black female asshole now? Is that the plan, motherfucker? Oh my God, it doesn't reflect our nation nor our movement. No, you're still assholes. I am resigning my seat on the Lincoln Project board to make room for the appointment of a female board member as the first step to reform and professionalize the Lincoln Project. Kiss my ass. The Lincoln Project was built to fight. It is my deepest hope that despite recent internal events that have distracted from our cause, you will entrust us to continue the fight for what the entire Lincoln Project movement believes in. Combating the rising tide of fascism and authoritarianism in this country. Well, you might want to look at the current administration then. We are one election away from seeing the end of American democracy. Bullshit. This fight will go on for the rest of my life. For me, it's time to step back from the front to get healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. I look forward to being on Real Time with Bill Maher tonight on HBO, and then taking some much-needed time off. Stay strong. There is much work to be done. Steve. Dear Steve, I'm going to say this once. I don't know, because I might say it again many, many times. But I am going to say this once right now in this 1 minute rebuttal to your letter. Steve, fuck off, you asshole. Oh my God, these people. He literally did pull that card. I was molested card. I have depression card. Well, I need to make room for a female member because there's too many white men. Kiss my ever-loving big black ass. I'm sorry. Holy shit. Anyway, wasn't gonna link this, but when I thought it was overkill, but because these fuckers made me write about them again here. Glenn Greenwald calling them grifters and liars for 1,000 words. Lincoln Project, facing multiple scandals, is accused by its own co-founder of likely criminality. Liberals heralded this group of lifelong scammers, sleaze merchants, and con artists as noble men of conscience, enabling them to fleece and deceive the public. Well, while we're on the subject, let's go take a look back. Let me see what's going on at the... Susan Collins. We were missing Susan Collins. We got to hear Susan Collins. Hang on, here we go.
To leave the Capitol. Rather than
thank you, Fox 61 with the violence, news. More salt for the salt god. Yes, more of the left's glorious salty tears. Let the salt flow. The salt god is pleased. Well, American Salt Company is probably getting a lot of business right now. Thank you, sir.
As he had urged. Shortly after the vice president was whisked away from this very chamber to avoid the menacing mob chanting, "Hang Mike Pence."
Okay, let's put it this way. Trump wasn't there for that. And I'm sure that he wasn't sitting there glued to a TV watching this while he's in the middle of his, just finished his speech. Now, when they went back and he put out the statement, go home and, whatever, I get it. But Jesus Christ. Like, as if he had control over this unruly mob by the wave of a hand. Like, who's the king in 300? And Leonidas is talking to the king, and the king would just wave his hand, and they'd do whatever they're supposed to do. This ain't it. Sorry.
Or by virtue of a reckless disregard for the consequences of his action. President Trump, subordinating the interests of the country to his own selfish interests, bears significant responsibility for the invasion of the Capitol.
Who is using the Punch and Judy puppet?
Mr. President,
that's not
this impeachment trial is not about any single word uttered by President Trump
there you go.
On January 6, 2021. It is instead about President Trump's failure to obey the oath he swore on January 20th, 2017.
Tell me.
His actions to interfere with the peaceful transition of power, the hallmark of our Constitution and our American democracy, were an abuse of power and constitute grounds for conviction.
Sorry about that.
Two arguments have been made against conviction that deserve comment. The first is that this was a snap impeachment that the House
It
failed
was.
to hold hearings.
Oh my God, they didn't do any
conduct
investigation.
An investigation and to interview witnesses. And that is true.
Okay.
Without a doubt, the House should have been more thorough.
Yep.
It should have compiled
But time was
a
of
more
the essence. Well,
complete record.
if time was of the essence, why didn't they deliver the articles of impeachment right
Nevertheless,
away?
the record is clear that the president, President Trump, abused his power, violated his oath
How did he
to
abuse
uphold
power?
the Constitution,
What the fuck are you
and
talking
tried
about?
almost every means in his power
Oh, as
to
far as-
prevent
oh,
the
I see.
peaceful transfer
As
of
far
authority
as disputing
to
the vote, so he had no
newly
right to dispute the
elected
vote?
president.
If
Second
he believed there was the
is the
shenanigans, then
contention that the First Amendment protects the president's right to make any sort of outrageous and false claims, no matter the consequences. But, Madam President, the First Amendment was not designed and has never been construed by any court to bar the impeachment and conviction of an official who violates his oath of office by summoning and inciting a mob to
You
threaten
haven't
other
improved the
officials
incited
in the discharge of
That's
their
your problem.
constitutional
Okay.
obligations.
I'm not going to listen to any more senators today. I
My
just decided
vote
that ain't it.
in this trial
No more.
stems from
All right,
my own oath.
Shut up. I'm not going to listen to any more senators, pro or con, because it's over, and this is a waste of our time too. And the fact that they're wasting people's time and money for this. Let's see what's happening. Bachelor host Chris Harrison issues a policy. Oh no. Oh no. Now this is the kind of story that annoys me. Let's see what this is. This says that the Bachelor host Chris Harrison issues an apology and announces he is stepping aside for a period of time after, quote, excusing historical racism. Let's see what he actually said, because I'm curious if he was excusing historical racism, or you know what? Well, let's see. Let's just find out. I'm going to close that window. Okay, here we go. Let me get, I have to get my chat back up here just a second. So I can see you guys. All right, here we go. Longtime host has been under fire for his interview comments defending the racist actions of contestant Rachel Kirkconnell. I have no idea what that means, but let's find out. The historic season should not be marred or overshadowed by mistakes or diminished by my actions, Harrison said with the announcement. This year's Bachelor lead, Matt James, is the first black bachelor in 25 seasons. Okay. Chris Harrison says he'll be stepping aside for a period of time after the final rose special for Matt James' season while he gets educated on more profound and productive level than never before. What? Okay, I don't know what he did. Did anybody know about anything about this? I know this is not important to most of you, but this is... All right, let's see if we can find out what's going on here. Apologize again for the pain my words caused. He said he was ashamed how uninformed I was during the February 9th interview with former Bachelorette and extra correspondent Rachel Lindsay. I have no one to blame myself for what I said, the way I spoke, said the host. Harrison also revealed that he'll be stepping aside. I want to know what he said. I don't give a shit about this. This is his apology. By the way, this would be a good time for one of my proverbs. Here's one of my proverbs that probably is going to apply to this, and I'm going to find out. This is a perfect one. In fact, because I'm working on this video today. Here's the proverb that probably is going to apply to this. If I can get this open here. Let's see here. Let me find this. Here we go. A proverb that's going to apply what we're reading right now. No mountain of admitted guilt or even self-immolation will ever be enough for the truly woke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see what he did. Let's find out. I want to find out exactly what he said in this interview. First came under fire after his extra interview last week. Well, let's just open that up. Oh, here we go. When Lindsay asked him about some racially insensitive past behavior from current Bachelor contestant Rachel Kirkconnell, or whatever, the host defended Kirkconnell against what he called the woke police. Oh, no! On social media. Quote, "We all need to have a little grace, a little understanding, a little compassion. I've seen some stuff online against this judge, jury, executioner, seen some stuff online. Again, this judge, jury, executioner thing where people are just tearing this girl's life apart and diving into her parents and her parents' voting record," he told Lindsay. "It's unbelievably alarming." Kirkconnell has since apologized for her, quote, "racist and offensive past actions," which included attending a, quote, plantation-themed party, end quote, in 2018. Okay, what? Oh, now I gotta find out what this is about. What did she do? What is she apologizing for? Are y'all still here? Why not just do the world a favor and cancel the show rather than getting a new host? It's a shit show anyway. I can't watch that shit. Hang on. So Lindsay, meantime, blasted Harrison. Wait, who's Lindsay? Okay, wait a minute. Oh, this is the reporter. Blasted Harrison in the February 11th episode of Higher Learning with Van Nathan and Rachel Lindsay podcast and indicated that she will leave the franchise when her contractual obligations have expired. I can't take it anymore. What the actual fuck? What did she do? What did this person do? Okay, hang on. Okay, so now, here we go. This is, okay, Harrison apologized for defending Bachelor contestant interview that perpetuates racism. Okay. Okay, Kirkconnell, who is on the ABC show's current season, was allegedly photographed at an antebellum plantation-themed fraternity ball in 2018. On TikTok, TikTok can ruin your freaking life. Kirkconnell has also been accused of racially insensitive behavior, such as liking photos containing the, oh no, the Confederate flag. The hell, what happened there? Here. Oh, there we go. That one too. Got a double. Oh no. Such as liking photos, just for liking a photo that has the Confederate flag. Kirkconnell did not immediately respond to Entertainment Weekly's request for comment, but on Thursday, the reality star issued an apology on Instagram. Although she did not confirm specific accusations in the lengthy post, Kirkconnell wrote, "There are truths that have come to light that I need to address. I'm here to say I was wrong. At one point, I didn't recognize how offensive and racist my actions were." Now, I'm curious, at this so-called antebellum plantation-themed fraternity ball, did they have actors dressed as slaves? Or were they just wearing old-time costumes? I'm curious what the racist part was. Now, you know, plantation theme. I mean, I'm struggling, and it was, now were there a bunch of Confederate flags around them? Then I could, you know, maybe that's offense. I don't really I'm a black man. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm here to say I was wrong. At one point, I didn't recognize how offensive and racist my actions were, but that does not excuse them, she posted. My age or when it happened does not excuse anything. They are not acceptable or okay in any sense. I was ignorant, but my ignorance was racist. No, you were just ignorant. If you didn't know, ignorant means you didn't know that was racist. And I'm sorry, I just don't give a fuck. She's on The Bachelor. She's on the current season of The Black Bachelor trying to date a black man. So you must be all right. But no. On Tuesday, Harrison came under fire while discussing the controversy in an interview with Extra correspondent and the first black bachelorette, Rachel Lindsay. During the conversation, Harrison seemed to focus his ire on critics for attacking Kirkconnell for doing something she said 50 million people did in 2018 while asking fans to have a little grace with Kirkconnell. I'm okay. I'm trying to figure it out. Harrison apologized for his remarks in an Instagram statement, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we got that. So is that what it is? Is this the interview? How long is this? 13 minutes? I ain't watching this for 13 minutes. Hell no. We all need to have a little grace, a little understanding, a little compassion. I've seen some stuff online and against, again, this judge, jury, executioner thing where people are just tearing this girl's life apart and diving into her parents and her parents' voting record. Why are people out looking at her parents' voting record? Who cares? Oh, no. Did her parents vote for Donald Trump? Is that the unforgivable sin that her parents voted for Trump or whatever? Or they voted for a Republican? My God. And okay, so she went to a party and it was a costume party and it was antebellum South costume party. Were they saying racist shit? Were they, like I said, did they hire a bunch of actors to pretend to be slaves and were they beating them with whips and putting them in shackles and making pick cotton and shit? Shit, who gives a fuck? But hey, welcome to Woke World 2.0. I haven't heard Rachel speak on this yet until I actually hear this woman have a chance to speak. Who am I to say any of this? Harrison then said Kirkconnell was simply at a sorority party 5 years ago, and that's it, which Lindsay corrected, saying, quote, the picture was from 2018 at an Old South antebellum party. That's not a good look. Well, Rachel, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021? Because there's a big difference. Harrison responded, it's not a good look ever, Lindsay said. If I went to that party, what would I represent at that party? Well, it depends how you dressed. Anyway, as long as you ain't dressed as Hattie McDaniel, I don't know. And if you're uncomfortable with that, then don't go to it. I'm just sorry. You're 100% right. In 2021, Harris argued, that was not the case in 2018. And again, I'm not defending Rachel. I just know that I don't know 50 million people did that in 2018. That was a type of party that a lot of people went to. And again, I'm not defending it. I didn't go to it. Okay. Harrison also surmised that Kirkconnell probably didn't know the painful history behind antebellum-themed events in America. My guess, these girls got dressed up and went to a party and had a great time, and they were 18 years old, he said. Does that make it okay? I don't know, Rachel. You tell me. He later added that this poor girl, Rachel, who has just been thrown to the lions, I don't know how you're equipped when you've never done this before to be woke enough, to be eloquent enough to be ready to handle this. And my guess is this woman needs a little time. Matt James of the first Black Bachelor gave a measured response when asked about Kirkconnell. She and the other women are currently vying for James' affection on season 25. Hey, so again, white girl went to an antebellum party in 2018, but now she's on The Bachelor trying to get some BBC. I don't know. Clearly, she's probably not the racist that they're calling her. But I'm sure the woke crowd on Twitter has been savaging this woman. But, whatever. I don't care. This is some shit I don't care about. I'm done reading this story. Good Lord. People. Oh, but again, But again, I think my proverb of the day is very appropriate. What was that again? No mountain of admitted guilt or even self-immolation will ever be enough for the truly woke. There you go. Stay tuned for updates. Gunfox. Oh, what? Any word of nuclear plants? What? Breaking. Tsunami alert. Sirens active. Where is that, Gunfox? Where's there a tsunami alert? Now the news. Okay. Now the big story. U.S. Senate voted 57-43 to acquit former President Donald Trump on Saturday after he was charged with inciting the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol building. Trump released a statement welcoming the decision, saying his movement has only just begun. Oh, that's some foreshadowing to some more violence. By the way, who was it? Dana Milbank wrote a bullshit article in the Washington Post, which is redundant, saying that if the senators acquit Donald Trump, it's on their heads the violence that will be unleashed across America. Motherfucker, if you've been paying attention, there's been violence across America for the last almost a year now. It'll be interesting to see what this summer looks like. I bet Fukushima, okay, oh my gosh, earthquake in Japan. Let's see if we can find some breaking news on that. Let's see, go to Explore tab. Let's see where the news is here. LA Church to host indoor conference of 3,000 attendees despite health order. White House Deputy Press Secretary T.J. Ducklo suspended 1 week without pay for allegedly threatening a political reporter. It's about time. Here's the earthquake here. An earthquake measuring 6.1 on the Richter scale hit Amritsar. Tremors were felt in Delhi, NCR, Jammu, and parts of the Uttar Pradesh. I don't know where that is. Okay, lots of look, here's what it looks like on Twitter right now as far as this story. So we got the Twitter news thingy here, right? And so that's here, I'll move that down so you can see it. We got the Twitter news thingy here, but then you go down here and there's just all these things. Earthquake, breaking news, earthquake, 6.1 magnitude hits Amritsar. Is that in India? Not since the earthquake of 2005 have the tremors in Srinagar been bad enough to force me out of the house. I grabbed a blanket. Okay, that's not it. Let's see here. YouTube chat is ass. I don't see. Okay. Thank you. There says okay. That's not Japan though. Fukushima. All right. Well, let's continue into Twitter news thing here. Usually they've got it. Oh, this is all yesterday too. Trump border wall leaves landscape in disarray. Of course, that's the insider. Let's see. All right. Well, let's do this. We'll do a search. We'll do a search here. Earthquake Japan. Let's get some breaking news here. Powerful underseas earthquake. I can't know in the Washington Post. Let's do NBC News. All right. So this is breaking right now. There apparently is a tsunami alert. A magnitude 7.3 earthquake strikes near site of Japan's Fukushima nuclear disaster. That's not good. A magnitude 7.3 earthquake struck Saturday off the coast of Japan's Fukushima prefecture, which was home to one of the world's worst nuclear disasters almost a decade ago. This guy's store got trashed of wine and shit. The Japan Meteorological Agency said the quake, which it initially said had a magnitude of 7.1, struck at 11:08 p.m. local time, 9:08 a.m. Eastern time, at a depth of 34 miles. 14 aftershocks were recorded, it said, adding that a tsunami warning has not been issued. Okay, so the tsunami warning may be new. The quake was also felt in Japan's capital, Tokyo. There have been no anomalies reported from any of the nuclear facilities. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshida Suga told a press conference, everything is normal. Checks are still being carried out to determine the number injured, he said, urging people not to venture outdoors and be prepared for aftershocks. What the hell? Chief Cabinet Secretary Katsunobu Kato told a separate news conference earlier in Tokyo that almost 850,000 households have been left without power in areas surrounding Tokyo and northern Japan. So that's not good. Apparently there are tsunami warnings now, though. Powerful underground earthquake comes out of silence to declare that Orange Man bad is in fact bad. Yeah, that happened before the verdict in the president's trial in the Senate. Yes, check your logic. It is a Saturday stream. It is a special Saturday night live, and I'm not infringing on any trademarks or copyrights because KNIGHT bitches. Not you guys. Not you at the round table. The round table is awesome. By the way, did you know that I call you the round table now? You are the round table. So, and by the way, thanks for just jumping in today. You know, it's always nice to have people drop by. Oh, 49 likes. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool that people are here. Northern Japan in winter with no power. Yeah, that's not a good time. It's cold. It's cold there. Let's see if there's any other news. Here, let's go for tsunami because that's maybe TSU tsunami. This says, well, USA Today says no tsunami is expected after a 7.3 earthquake hits Japan. So maybe things will be okay. Tsunamis are a bitch, though. Tsunami is a series of waves and water body caused by the displacement of large volumes of water, generally in an ocean or a large lake. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or other underwater explosions above or below water all have potential to create a tsunami. Just if you don't know what a tsunami is, I did. All right, let's see what else is breaking here. Let's see. What's the yay? Infringe news so hard. I'm not sure. A 9-point aftershock. You guys are getting some breaking news here because I have not seen it. No, tsunamis are no joke whatsoever. They can be so incredibly devastating. Let's see. Los Angeles church to host a conference of 3,000 people. Oh no. Sounds like a super spreader event. Grace Community Church plans to host an annual Shepherd's Conference in Los Angeles in March, despite public health officials saying conferences are prohibited under the county's COVID-19 health order. Okay, and that's in the Los Angeles Times. This says this church should be shut down now, as it's a threat to public health. This lady, LA's church to host the conference, blah, blah, blah. There's probably some people salty about that. It's weird because, I'm coaching. As you know, I coach basketball. I coach a 9th grade high school team. And we had games this morning, and we have to practice with masks on. They have to play with masks on. The fans have to wear masks. The refs have to wear masks. It's just an interesting dynamic, and it's it's challenging keeping their masks above their nose and shit. But just what you got to do when you have all this crap going on. Let's see. Anything else here? Oh, let's talk about this White House press secretary because I didn't really talk about it much this week. So this White House press secretary, kind of not the press secretary, the deputy press secretary. Excuse me, not Miss Psaki. But the deputy press secretary got a little hot water this week because he kind of he threatened a reporter from Politico, and it's funny because we're already having problems because Psaki can't seem to answer questions, but she certainly likes to go in circles. I'm surprised she's not falling down dizzy. She circles back so much, but also because the other problem was that the White House wanted to have reporters give their questions in advance so they could, so they could answer them. But that kind of leaves the journalism aspect out of it. You just should be able to speak on your feet. But anyway, on Friday, Vanity Fair reported that TJ Ducklo, had allegedly threatened Politico reporter Tara Palmieri, who was working on a story about his romantic relationship with another reporter. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters that Ducklo has apologized to Palmieri and said that he has been suspended for 1 week without pay. Political observers are noting that President Joe Biden's pledge to fire employees on the spot if they were found to disrespect others, and in particular journalists, doesn't seem to be in play. And we haven't figured out why yet. But let's see if do we want the PBS story? Well, is that safe? How about Vanity Fair? Well, let's do the Vanity Fair article. Now, I'm sure this is going to be completely fair and balanced, whatever. Does it fit in the screen there? I'll move it over just a little bit, even though the headline's not going to fit, but that's okay. We don't need the headline. I will destroy you. Biden aide threatened Politico reporter pursuing. Whoa, what happened there? Okay, we got an ad out of nowhere. I will destroy you. Biden aide threatened a Politico reporter pursuing a story on his relationship. Now, this is interesting. Good day, Tazzy. Nice to see you here live, Tazzy. By the way, I do see when you do comments in the comments section, and I absolutely need to get caught up on my comment sections in some of these videos. So, but I so appreciate you leaving messages in the comment section when you watch after the facts. I wanted to let you know that personally, and I get a chance to do that now. So anyway, Deputy Press Secretary TJ Ducklo lashed out at journalist. Okay, we already read this. Okay, oh no, I didn't read this. Tara Palmieri. Stop jumping. Holy shit. Spurring conversations between Politico's brass and the White House, and raising questions about behavior tolerated in the Biden administration. I'm sorry. I just do that because that's how the news treats Joe Biden. And I know that I originally made this sound effect specifically for Barack Obama, but the media treats Joe Biden almost with more reverence than a Barack Obama. Okay, enough of that shit. A White House official tried to quash a story about his relationship with a reporter by issuing threats and using derogatory language to another reporter pursuing it, according to two sources familiar with the incident. Boy, they love their sources familiar with the incident. In fact, I think the most prolific media source on the planet right now is source familiar with the incident. Anyway, in a sympathetic profile Monday, People revealed that White House Deputy Secretary... Let's try that again for the people at home. People revealed that White House Deputy Press Secretary TJ Ducklo is dating Axios political reporter Alexi McCammond, who covered the Joe Biden campaign. Wow, talk about some, I don't want to say nepotism. What's a word for that? That's some shady shit. But behind the scenes, Ducklo had previously lashed out at political reporter Tara Palmieri, who was reporting the story, exhibiting behavior that led to tense meetings between the Washington News outlet editors and senior White House officials. After Vanity Fair published this account, the White House announced that Ducklo would be suspended for 1 week. Wait a minute. Where's the account? Where's the account? In the sympathetic... What? Hang on a second here. Is this it? Is this the sympathetic account? I'm sorry, I'm just... Reporter forgoes covering president as romance blossoms with Biden aide battling cancer. Didn't think twice. Oh, they threw in the they threw in the cancer card. Oh, she's fine. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, we both realize. Oh, I could probably put this one on the screen too. Let's try this. There we go. We both realized, we both felt the same way, said Ducklow, the White House Deputy Press Secretary, says of Axios Alexei McCammond. We're both really happy and we wanted to do it the right way. I bet you wanted to do it the right way. Sorry. It is forever. It is, forgive the cliche, a tale as old as tales themselves. Girl meets boy and girl decide to have a personal, not professional drinks the following year. They date, pandemic safe, of course. Oh, of course. Parents get introduced, a romance blossoms. In the case of Alexei McCammond and TJ Ducklow, however, there were some wrinkles. McCammond, 27, is an MSNBC contributor and reporter for political website Axios. She covered Joe Biden's presidential campaign in 2019 and 2020 and got to know Ducklow, then Biden's press secretary. That means she was fucking him. That's what that means. Anyway, they were collegial. They were fucking, as reporters and officials often are. And then they were friends. They were fucking. Ducklow, 32, was super single and agile. I'm sorry, I was editorializing there. While McCammond was in a serious relationship. Oh, homewrecker. Ducklow's the homewrecker in this case, though. Anyway, in November, they started dating. Fucking. We both realized, we both felt the same way. Uh-oh. Is he a eunuch? Is he, or is he, never mind. I probably shouldn't go there. Anyway, Ducklow, who joined the Biden White House as a deputy press secretary, tells People, we're both really happy and we wanted to do it the right way. That meant telling their bosses that they were fucking. An Axios spokeswoman says McCammond, who joined the site in 2017, told her editors about the relationship, they were fucking, in November and asked to be taken off the Biden beat. She was reassigned to covering progressive lawmakers in Congress and progressives across the U.S., as well as Vice President Kamala Harris, who gave her some tips on... Okay, never mind. The spokeswoman says, we stand behind her and her coverage. The spokeswoman says of McCammond, describing her as a valued member of the Axios team. For her part, McCammond says, when my personal life had the potential to interfere with my work, because I was fucking the deputy press secretary, I didn't think twice about sharing my happiness in November with Axios, that I'd found someone in TJ, who shows up for me in a way I'd only hoped for. He must be pretty damn good. He looks kind of nerdy. But anyway, switching. Okay, so enough of that shit. So they were doing nasty. They were knocking boots. They were doing the horizontal mambo. They were fucking. And so then someone started asking TJ Ducklow about it, and he threatened them. That's the story. That's all I got. I mean, and now instead of being disciplined as the Biden administration promised they would, anyone who threatens a reporter should be immediately ousted from their post. Nah, they're going to suspend his ass. Whatever. For 1 week. 1 week. All right, then. That's some juicy news for you. Let's see. Is she exasperated? He is on his phone as she takes a picture of them with her phone in that picture, LOL. Yeah, I don't know. Making the beast with two backs. What? I don't know what that meant. But yeah, I'm going to start telling anyone, if the mask is for medical reasons, it should be tax-free, or they're lying. Oh, that's kind of a good point. I never thought of that. Oh, bye, Katie. I didn't know you were out of here. See you at HB stream. Yep, I'll be there. Or somebody else said that. Anyway, all right. Is there anything else interesting? Nothing really in the breaking news category that's not already from yesterday. Police reform in New Jersey. How more than 200 cameras changed policing and left residents wary. Okay, I don't know. Oh, Tokyo Olympics chief Yoshiro Mori resigns following backlash over sexist remarks. Oh, we got to take a look at this. This is in I'm kind of sticking to like woke stories, and this is kind of, well, sort of woke stories. I don't know. I'm just kind of getting away from the news, and I'm trying to, let's see. You know what I'm saying. Let's see. The president of Tokyo 2020 Olympics Organizing Committee announced his resignation on Friday. It comes after he reportedly said women talk too much in meetings and have a strong sense of rivalry during a board meeting earlier in February. It is not certain who will replace Mori with the Olympics set to begin. Now, I'm curious because Japan has a little bit different culture than we do. So I'm curious if this was a general meeting or if this was just the Japan. Well, it says the 2020 Olympics Organizing Committee. Now that means there's people from other places in the world. And Yokomuro saying that women talk too much in meetings and have a strong sense of rivalry. Well, women do tend to have more rivalries with each other than men do, as far as, I don't know, in places. But I don't know about the talk too much. I mean, it just depends. Maybe a particular woman in those meetings was talking too much. I don't know. I just don't know. And he made a generalization. And I just, I'm going to play it safe to say that he might have been speaking about a particular woman and generalized, and now he's going to step down. I'm surprised that he's resigning after sexist remarks. In Japan culture, that might not be all that sexist. Who knows? Maybe Japan's changing. After a wave of criticism, Mori, 83. He's 83 years old. Come on. He's 83 years old. Apologized and retracted his remarks, acknowledging they were inappropriate and against the Olympic spirit. International Olympic Committee said in a statement Tuesday that Mori's comments were absolutely inappropriate and, well, whatever. But it seemed that he had escaped further sanction until reports that he would step down first broke on Thursday. Let's see here. Does anyone? I'm curious. So this person wrote a thread about it. 83. No wonder still think he's a shogun. Okay. Let's hope no. Let's see. Do you really want to support such cruelty? What's this? I'm trying to figure out what this means. Tokyo 2021. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Interesting. Yeah, he's a 83-year-old man in Tokyo, and it's not shocking to come out of an 83-year-old man in Tokyo. Oh, this is good. Look at the picture along with this one, though. Is this going to make it on there? Yeah, hang on. Let me scroll that up a little bit. Apparently, somebody in... Yes, this is the wipe out sexists in English there, and they're got him fading away. Apparently, wokeness has come to Japan. Okay, great. Okay. I mean, is he wrong? I'm not going to answer that question, Avocados Diabli, because I don't know. Tazzy, let's talk more me love you long time. this is me trying not to laugh out loud because I just probably here. I'm gonna give you one of these though. Hasn't been a shogun in 200 years. Okay, that's probably true too. Let's see here. Oh, I regret ever. This is okay. Some people are a little bit. People are not just salty for the fact that President Trump wasn't convicted, but some are salty about the Republicans who voted what they believed and voted against President Trump, which, that's all good. This is Andrew Catherine, one of my friends from St. Louis. I regret ever casting a vote for Mitt Romney. Bill Cassidy, I know folks down in Louisiana, this isn't an establishment GOP state. Cassidy isn't representing his constituents at all. So here's the 7 GOP senators who voted against Trump: Romney, Cassidy, Toomey, Murkowski, Collins, Sass, and Burr. Now, Burr is a surprise because I really haven't heard anybody talking about him at all. And then Cassidy, we knew would possibly do that. I must have missed his vote because I thought he was the first. Collins was the first one too. No, Cassidy was. Oh, no, Burr was. They went in alphabetical order. Anyway, Ben Sass is pretty popular in Nebraska and particularly in Omaha. And he's kind of, he's, look, he not a Trump fan, but he is fairly solidly conservative when he votes on things. I think, and he's popular in Nebraska, probably safe. Collins, I don't know how anyone can knock her out of there in Maine. She just, for whatever, she's got another 6 years. She just got reelected, so she doesn't have to work. She can survive anything, and I'm pretty sure that she probably may not run after this 6-year term. Cassidy, I don't know. Louisiana, probably not going to be around much longer if he comes up for another election. Toomey's not running again. Romney in Utah, that's hard to tell too. I don't think there's already a push to primary Romney and get rid of him, but dude's got a lot of money. I don't know. And Murkowski, who knows? I don't know when her reelection comes up. Abel Swabs for the 7. Oh, yes. Anals. Yes, let's have them all tested with anal swabs the size of the ones you need for Andrew Cuomo's nose, according to Chris Cuomo. Interesting. Scribe Light, one of my friends who might be in here. Anyway, says, so McConnell doesn't have the courage of his convictions, literally votes to acquit, but afterwards says Trump was guilty. Not that there was much reason before, but why would anyone trust anything this guy has to say now? I'm still trying to figure out if he is saying, if McConnell's saying he's not guilty of the charges that they brought, because the definition of insurrection, but still blaming him for the entire, the riot around the Capitol. I still don't understand his reasoning. Yes, there were a lot of people there. And yes, there were 2 or 3 different rallies planned for that day in Washington, D.C., or 2 of them. And Trump somehow got them to be combined. But again, the people who planned the mayhem ahead of time without, and started the mayhem before Trump even finished his speech, you can't blame Trump for that. You can't blame people. It's like, can I blame the, let's take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay. Let's say there was one of those typical sports riots in the streets after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. Can you blame the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a street riot? I don't think so. Now, I know that's not the best analogy in the world because Trump, did invite people to Washington and he's been talking about the election and people were already mad about the election. But I don't know that if some of it was spontaneous. Some of the people who went in that building went spontaneously, not realizing what was going on. I'm sure there were people there. And again, when they got in the building, what did they do? Was this an insurrection? Did the entire crowd, if Trump had so much power to cause a genuine insurrection, why is it that so many of the people that were there for that speech didn't participate? They've got 300 to 400 people that did all that mess in the Capitol. Wasn't it thousands? And there were thousands of people there. If it was truly an insurrection, thousands of people would have stormed that Capitol building and went through all the tunnels and found everyone, and there'd be mayhem and death and everything all around. That didn't happen. Once they got inside and they're like, oh, no one there, and what are we doing now? Let's go just take some selfies. And you know, it's not like they burned the building down. Did they? Did they set the building on fire? Did they go set a church on fire? Did they set, you know, I mean, yes, they broke some shit, but they didn't break a lot of it. And so they were in some offices and they did ransack some offices. Some of the idiots. But those were few compared to how many people were there for Trump's speech. So I'm still saying, nope. Nope. It was the worst insurrection ever. Oh my gosh. No. I don't know if this is a troll or what. Melania Trump has done something that's interesting. And I in the immortal words of someone who is making fun of Robin Leach. Wait, let me get this on. Make sure this goes on the screen, right? I don't know why Melania Trump has former First Lady launches, quote, the office of Melania Trump. Former First Lady Melania Trump announced on Twitter on Friday the opening of her own office. Mrs. Melania Trump is announcing the opening of the office of Melania Trump. Please follow this account for news and updates. The first tweet from the office said, and here's the tweet, right there. Trump retweeted the announcement from her personal account, the first time she has tweeted since her farewell address before leaving the White House. Sources told CNN about the plans for this office at the end of January and said it would be located in Palm Beach, Florida. Former President Trump is fighting to live in his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach after there were arguments that he signed a contract that would prohibit him and his family from residing there. The focus of her office will be an extension of Melania Trump's Be Best slogan while at the White House that focused on children's wellness and safety, according to CNN. The office will employ those who worked with the former First Lady in the East Wing, sources said. However, the office has not officially announced its plans for the future. The former president launched his own official office in Palm Beach, Florida last month. So, okay, whatever. Interesting. What else? Is there anything else? How long have I been on here? I'm just curious. I've been on for, 2 hours. I didn't realize I'd been out here for 2 hours. Melania shat in Jim Acosta's bed. I don't know about that, but wouldn't that be good? But they insurrected the building. Okay. And Check Your Logic says, thank you for knowing the past tense of the word shit. Yes, it is shat. Alrighty again. Nicole Wallace was getting alive to Trump was a fascist dictator. Yeah, he's the worst dictator ever. I'm just saying. I've been saying that for a while, that Donald Trump is absolutely the worst dictator ever. You know, I was curious. Let me see who else is on YouTube right now. Just in my subscriptions here. Well, that would be me. I still have 35 people here. I can't believe you're watching this shit. But I love you guys. You are awesome that you're actually watching this, because I have no idea what I'm doing right now. So I'm just having fun. Let's see if there's anything. Oh, HB starts at what time? At 6 p.m. Eastern. Oh, in 15 minutes. Well, I'll hang on here until I can go over and hang out on over on HB's channel. That'd be Hard Bastard. In fact, I'm going to give you a link. If you've never watched Hard Bastard, now he is a little more irreverent than I am, and occasionally has some salty language and things like that, which I do sometimes, but mostly it's because he reads all of his super chats, and I tend to I don't censor my super chats, but I creatively what's the word? Creatively. I do creative interpretations of a few of my super chats because I just try to keep it kid friendly, right? Hello, Ricky Ravioli. All right, so let's see. Oh, Francis Barrett, what's up? Yes, he is. No, who's unwiped? Me or HB? I am absolutely wiped. I ain't going around stanking like that, unless you get a real clean one. No, I still wipe. By the way, and it's an old joke. It's an old joke. And I think I first heard it from Dom Herrera, if you're familiar with the comedian Dom Herrera. But I'm curious. And I have some blind friends. I should probably ask them that. But how do blind people know when they're done wiping? Just one of those things that make you go, I'm just saying. I hereby decree this your next time slot as it's perfect time for me to watch. I probably will do more of these afternoon type impromptu streams as soon as basketball season's over. And probably they'll be short, maybe one topic streams for like 30 minutes or so. Just to have some content out there that's not so long. I mean, all my streams are an hour and a half or more. And also, I'm making more videos. In fact, I am going to finish a video this week. And my series, Proverbs for the Modern Time, I'm got a couple of those that I'm working on. One will come out this weekend. One will come out probably midweek. I'm going to try to do 2 of those a week because they are short and sweet, although they take a long time for me to make for some reason. Just because I want to have a perfect clip that fits in with the various proverbs. But this one, I got a gift on this one. No mountain of admitted guilt or even self-immolation. That's perfect. The Bachelor thing is perfect. Although I could use, what's the chick's name from The Mandalorian that got fired? Now that I'm blanking out on her name. She's a fine individual, by the way. Let's see, anything else interesting just as I scroll down Twitter. Here's why New Orleans mayor was denied entry to schedule a meeting with Biden. Uh-oh. Did she have a contact tracing problem? Olivia Beavers. This, you know what? I'm sorry. If I was a woman with this name, I would change my name. Olivia Beavers. She's a political congressional reporter. Olivia Beavers. Oh my God. Yeah, Gina Carano. That could fit the, well, no, that one doesn't fit because she's not apologizing. And good for her. Don't ever apologize. Just do you be you, Gina. Olivia Beavers. McConnell on Senate floor, there's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it. Well, after he voted to quit based on a technicality he created. No, it's not that he created. It's not that he created. It's not a technicality either. It's not incitement. It's sorry. Yeah. People can be pissed off by things you say, but it's not incitement unless he said to go break into the Congress and start rounding people up with those fake plastic handcuff thingies. And he didn't tell them to do that. And that's a legal opinion by the Supreme Court, 9-0 interpretation, and it's precedent. So fuck off, whoever's saying that bullshit. What a wonderful pelt, Mrs. Beavers. Olivia B. Change your name, woman. Seriously, change your name. Let's see what if any other weird stuff going on Twitter. I should probably I've got to stop doing this. You can't scroll on Twitter anymore because you never know when some stuff that's really shouldn't be on YouTube shows up. New York Fashion Week, red carpet with George Papadopoulos. Oh, it's Fashion Week. It is. I wonder how they're even doing Fashion Week. See, last time we had a Fashion Week, all those people that came over from Italy brought COVID to New York State because that's where they said it comes from. Wow, George Papadopoulos' woman is pretty hot. I'm going to show you. I guess I've seen pictures of her, but she's a very cute. That's her. That's George Papadopoulos' female companion. I think she's a former model too, so I think so it shouldn't be that shocking. Oh no! Gunfox 61, are you still in this? Are you still here? Gunfox 61 was telling us of some. Oh, you're not here, are you? He was telling us of some in the East Coast, I guess, and it's part of the Midwest. There are blizzard warnings. Well, I think there's a bigger problem somewhere in the country because I got to tell you, there's blizzard warning somewhere, 4 p.m. Saturday to something till on Sunday. I think you need to make sure you be careful with all them lizards. Hello, Asan. Nice to see you. Yeah, lizard warnings. You gotta be careful out there, people. You just gotta be careful. I don't know where that's for, though. It didn't say where, but anyway. Someone here, Trump and Coulter. Trump got off on a technicality. Thus, according to the Innocence Project, Trump has been exonerated. Oh, she's making fun of the Innocence Project. Oh, and Steve Cortez says the left is having a bad week. Yes, they are. Impeachment crumbles. Lincoln Project implodes. Newsom recall? Did they get the? Are they having the recall election now? Charlottesville lie exposed. Cuomo indicted. Now I need a list. I'm not sure did the Newsom recall coming through now? Oh, here's interesting. Politics trending. 14th Amendment is trending. Now that he's been acquitted, some are hoping Democrats will vote on the 14th Amendment and ban Trump from ever returning to office. They can't. They can't. Because in order for them to do that, he would have to be convicted of insurrection. He was not convicted in the Senate trial of inciting an insurrection. Or an erection, for that matter, Chuck Schumer. But no, I don't think they can. They're grasping at straws. Look, just get over it. I'm curious, though. Did Gavin Newsom, is that recall thing going through? Did they get there? They only needed 100,000 more signatures. They had 1.4 million. Gavin Newsom. Let's see here. GOP pumps 125,000 into it. Oh, they've got 1,500,000. Here's the Newsweek article. Not that I trust Newsweek for anything, but this is the article right here. Gavin Newsom faces recall election as campaign collects 1,509,000 signatures. An effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom has reached the minimum number of signatures needed to trigger a recall election. Organizers behind the recall campaign announced Friday. Now, what's interesting about this, it's not just, the right, the Republicans, the GOP, the deplorables, the insurrectionists calling for Gavin's recall. There's a lot of liberals who want him recalled too because of his COVID response. But anyway, recall Gavin Newsom launched last year and amassed more than 900,000 signatures by the end of December. The recall campaign said it collected more than 1.4 million signatures by early February and gathered a total of 1,509,000 signatures by Friday. The law dictates that a recall campaign must gather support from a specific number of registered voters in order to trigger a recall. In this case, valid signatures from 1,495,709 California voters, a number equivalent to 12 12% of the votes cast in the election, Newsom won to become governor from at least 5 counties needed to sign the petition by the campaign's March deadline. Once the California Secretary of State determines that the campaign has collected enough valid signatures, a recall election will be scheduled to allow voters to decide if they want Newsom to stay in office or not. Recall Gavin Newsom set a goal of collecting 1.8 million signatures in anticipation that some might not pass muster with the Secretary of State's office. This is not the first recall campaign Newsom has faced since he was elected governor with nearly 62% of the vote in 2018, but it is the campaign that has gained the most traction. The effort is fueled in part by frustration surrounding restrictions put in place due to the coronavirus pandemic. Organizers also cite as reason for their efforts the governor's positions on issues that predate COVID-19, including gun laws and immigration policy. So some of it is right-wing people, but also people who are tired of Gavin Newsom's COVID policies, which are wreaking havoc on the state of California. So I did not know that they got their signature amount. Let's see, what else did Cordes say? Okay, we already talked about the Lincoln Project. Impeachment has crumbled. Charlottesville lie exposed. Now, this is one. Oh, are they talking about the president and the Charlottesville thing that we always hear about? Let me see if I can see if that's a search here. Let me try this. 1, 2, 3. Let's try. Copy, paste. What Charlottesville lie exposed? Okay, people are just listing the state of California. Okay, not that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're talking about Trump and that the many great, all fine people bullshit on both sides bullshit. But anyway, Hard Disk Fail thinks the same thing. How much you want to bet if they strike a lot of those signatures due to being invalid, like not living in the state, not having proper identification? Yeah, that's why they wanted to. I'm sorry, I was answering your question. That's why they wanted to collect 1.8 million signatures, because usually in a lot of those recall things, there's probably a good 10% or so that they can say are invalid. So we'll see what happens. What's this here? Shine wild in this month. We'll skip that. That's some Uncle Hotep put up there. And let's see. Anything else up here? Trump released a statement following we haven't heard Trump's statement on impeachment yet. Let's check that out real quick. And this is from the Daily Wire. Is it Daily Wire? I think it is. Today, Trump released a statement following second impeachment acquittal in Senate, hints at future. Acquitted for a role he didn't play, money wasted. For some reason, that link is not opening up. Let's try this again. And there we go. It ain't happening. So I guess we'll figure that one out later. I do want to hear his full statement. But maybe we'll find it later. Let's see. Trump attorney. Oh, already somebody. Let's see. I wonder who encouraged this violence. Trump attorney's Vanderveen's home vandalized. This is February 13th. This is today. The suburban Philadelphia home of one of the attorneys defending former President Donald Trump in his impeachment trial has been vandalized with graffitis, the AP reports. Detective Scott Pizik of the West Whiteland Township Police Department in Chester County said the graffiti was reported around 8 p.m. Friday at the home of attorney Michael Vanderveen. Philadelphia Inquirer posted a photo showing the word traitor in red paint at the entrance of the driveway. Stop that. And the Philadelphia Inquirer posted the photo showing the word traitor at the red paint at the entrance of the driveway and an arrow pointing to the home. Okay, well, at least they only did it to the sidewalk. But still, I'm just saying, HB is live. Oh, it's time, guys. I was going to close off as soon as HB came on. The media collectively aired the entire clip accidentally. Fake emergency should be dropped prior to the election call. Oh, the media collectively aired the entire clip accidentally. What does that mean? Wonder what clip was that? All right. Anyway, there's some potential violence that we can blame some Democrats for because anyway, that's not cool. All right, gang. Since this is an impromptu stream, I'm going to do an impromptu close because it's time for me. I'm going to go check out HB's stream and also work on my video that I'm putting out hopefully by tomorrow. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't, looks like most of you who've been through here already hit the like button because I got 65 of those bad boys. But thanks for dropping in. And if you happen to be new here, I don't know how you would be new here, but if you are, hit the subscribe and bell and all that stuff. Hit the like button, share the stream, throw a comment in the comment section later. And if you ever want to throw some dollars at me, you can do that too. You don't have to though, but the information's down below if you ever want to do that. I'm going to start using this to supplement some of my other bills. So thank you for those who are able to do that. If you're not able, don't worry about it. I appreciate you just watching the show. Anyway, I gotta go. My name's PDawgKnight. Oh, I'm pointing too soon because I gotta hit this button first. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.